Welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Monica. I am a navigator with the System Navigation team. This is the second in a series of newly remodeled webinars designed to focus on how to effectively utilize the Managed Education Registry information tool known as MERIT. If you were not able to attend the webinar we hosted last month regarding managing your MERIT professional record, no worries, as you can watch the presentation on our Professional Development Engagement Efforts webpage. We will be sharing the link during this presentation. As a kind reminder for today's presentation, all participants will remain on mute. Please enter any questions you may have in the chat box, which is located at the bottom of your screen. We have set aside some time at the end of the presentation to answer questions. We will be focusing on some basic steps to the education verification process in MERIT. During today's webinar, we will review how to submit an education application, supporting documents and how they can be submitted, education verification timelines, plus helpful tools and resources once your education has been recorded in MERIT. Depending on your role, you may need to record your completed education in MERIT to meet a staff qualification requirement for the current role you are working in. Step 1 is gather all necessary documents. It would be helpful if you have them on hand in electronic form so they can be easily uploaded with your application. Step 2, fill out the application and submit it. Step 3, submit your supporting documents for verification. Next, we will go over the step-by-step application process and talk a little more about supporting documents accepted by DCYF. To begin, you will log into your MERIT account. Once logged in, then click on the My Education tab. Next, you will click on the bubble Complete My Education Application. For all licensed roles, you will select No to proceed with submitting the education application. Please note that if you are in one of the following roles, ECAP Lead Teacher, ECAP Assistant Teacher, or ECAP Family Support Staff, you must select Yes to submit the appropriate application for ECAP programs. Then, click on the blue Go button. On page 1, there are 3 sections to fill out as needed. The Diplomas, Degrees, Colleges Attended section is used to record high school, GED diploma, completed college degrees, or college credits. This section is used to meet a licensing staff qualification requirement. The college coursework section is used only to record coursework for in-service training hours, formerly known as STARS hours. Note that this section is not used to meet a licensing staff qualification requirement. The certificate and credential section is used to verify college credit-bearing certificates or credentials. This section is used to meet a licensing staff qualification requirement. I will explain a little more on each of these 3 sections next. Add information in the Diplomas, Degrees, Colleges Attended section. Click on the blue Add Degree button on the upper right of the screen. A window will pop up. Click on the degree or diploma type to make a selection. If reporting college credits only or working on high school or GED, select the option that best fits. When entering the school name, if it does not populate from the drop-down, you will have to manually type in the full name of the school. A blue highlighted text box will appear below it as you type it in. Once you have typed in the full name of the school, it is required to then click on the blue highlighted text box for it to save. You will want to do the same if your degree major is not listed. This last step is to enter the year of completion and proceed by saving what you entered. College coursework section is to apply for in-service training only, formerly known as STARS hours. Click on the Add Coursework button. A window will pop up to enter eligible college courses. Please note that only 3 college courses may be submitted per calendar year. Those courses must have been completed within the past 3 years. All coursework must be related to the Washington State Core Competency Areas for Early Care and Education or Child and Youth Development Professionals. We will share these links in the chat. 1 college quarter credit is the equivalent to 10 in-service training hours. An unofficial transcript may be used for this verification process. After entering coursework information, click on the Save button. Use the Certificate and Credential Information section to verify a college credit-bearing certificate or credential. Some examples are ECE stackable certificates, CDA, and/or Montessori credentials. Click on the Add Certificate button. Make your selection, add the issuer, enter the date received, then click Save. After the necessary sections are filled out, click on the Next button, located on the top or lower right corner to continue. This section is not used to record training such as childcare basics, CPR, first aid, and/or state-approved training. In case it is helpful, these are examples of some verifiable certificates and credentials that can be entered under the Certificates and Credentials section. These are outlined on the Education Verification Program Manual. We will share the link to this manual in the chat. Now on to page 2. If the education you are submitting qualifies for an award, it will be required to review the details and check the box to confirm the information being submitted is true and accurate. There will be no details listed and no checkbox if the education submitted does not qualify for an award. Please note that college coursework is not applicable. Click Next to continue. It is important to get your completed education recorded in merit as soon as you are able, should you be eligible for an incentive, as funds are available on a first-come, first-served basis. To learn more about DCYF Education Awards, review the Education Awards Guide. We will share the link to this guide in the chat. Page 3 is to review your personal information. You will want to make sure that your mailing address is listed correctly. If needed, you can make any necessary updates from this page. You can also add a former name if applicable. After confirming this information is correct, click Next. On the last page, you will review, sign, and submit your application. This is also where you can upload your supporting documents if you have the electronic file saved on the device you are using. If you don't, no worries, as supporting documents can also be emailed after the application has been submitted. More details on this process shortly. To upload your supporting documents, click on the Choose Files button. When you are done with choosing the files, click on the Upload Documents button. Note that applications are electronically signed using only your first and last name and must match how it is recorded in your Merit profile. After typing in your name, click on the Submit button. After you submit your application, you will receive an automated email confirmation with an attached PDF copy of the application for your records. Kindly note it is not required to sign the PDF copy of the application nor return it to DCYF since the application is electronically signed. Now let's talk about the supporting document requirements to have education recorded in Merit. For high school or GED, the diploma or official transcript is required. To have college credits recorded, an official transcript is required and must include course completion. For a completed college degree, the degree diploma cannot be used for this verification process. An official transcript is required and must include the degree completion date. To have a certificate or credential recorded, a copy of the actual certificate is required. An official transcript may be used if it lists the certificate as earned with the date of completion. If you would only like to apply for annual in-service training, formerly known as STARS hours, for eligible college coursework, an unofficial transcript works just fine. However, if you want to verify college credits and also apply for in-service training hours, an official transcript is required. If you are not able to upload your supporting documents for any reason, you can email a copy of the required documents. For education that was completed within the U.S., please email to education.verification@centralia.edu. We will share this email address in the chat. A few things to note when submitting supporting documents for education completed within the U.S. Official documents do not have to come in a sealed envelope. The envelope may be opened as we only need a copy of the original. This way, the original is retained in your possession for your records. Files must be less than 10 megabytes. Please ensure the images are not blurry and the entire page is visible. You will want to include all the front pages and the transcript key. This is typically located on the back side of the pages. For education that was completed outside of the U.S., note that this verification process was updated in 2022 and is now done in-house by our own credentialing specialist. You can email your international supporting documents to merit@dcyf.wa.gov. We will share this email address in the chat. We no longer require course-by-course evaluations. This update has eliminated the high costs associated with this process. We now accept literal word-for-word translations of the source text. You can complete the translation yourself or by someone you know. Once the translation is complete, it will be required to have it notarized. A translation is not needed for supporting documents in languages based on English characters with Latin origins. For example, Spanish, French, or German. Supporting documents in languages based on alternate character format require a notarized literal translation. Note that it can take up to 45 business days for the verification process to complete. This is from the date all required supporting documents are received by the verification specialist. Please note, from the date you submit the required documents, it can take up to 2 weeks for the status to reflect as under review. If the required supporting document is not received within 90 days of the application submission date, it will be automatically withdrawn. You can monitor the status of your education by visiting your My Education tab. Email Merit with any questions related to the status of your education. This is the email address we already shared in the chat. Once your education is processed and approved, you will receive an automated email informing you. Should you believe that your education was recorded incorrectly, you are welcome to appeal. For this, you will need to complete and submit the education appeal form within 60 days of your education being processed and approved in Merit. Email your completed form to education.verification@centralia.edu. We will share this email address in the chat. We will also share the link to the education appeal form in the chat. For those of you that work at a licensed early learning facility, child care center, or family home in a current role that has an education requirement, did you know that you can easily choose a pathway on your dashboard with how you plan to meet the full education requirement for your current role. If this applies to you, you can easily locate your dashboard by clicking on the My Record tab. You make the selection under the job role education. You choose a pathway that best applies to you by clicking on the Click Here button. Note that you can update this at any time should anything change. The status will remain yellow as you work on meeting this requirement. Individuals have until August 1st, 2026, or 5 years from their date of hire or promotion, whichever occurs later, to meet their full education staff qualifications requirement. We will add the link to our qualifications and role requirements webpage in the chat. Please don't hesitate to reach out to the System Navigation Team, Merit, should you need guidance with staff qualification requirements. We hope that this presentation has offered better insight with submitting and getting your education recorded in Merit. Please feel free to visit our Merit Workforce Registry webpage for helpful resources and additional information. This link is being shared in the chat. And of course, you are always welcome to reach out to our team of system navigators for any questions, comments, or concerns you may have. Our newsletters and webinars can be accessed by visiting our Professional Development Engagement Efforts webpage. You can also access our past and future webinars from this webpage. We will put the link in the chat. Watch out for communication regarding our upcoming Merit webinar and final one of this series. The next webinar will be offered in October for individuals that manage a facility site profile. Subscribe to our PD newsletter to receive the details for this upcoming webinar. We will drop the link in the chat. Thank you all for joining us. We will now open it up to questions.